All right, let's just jump right in. So, you've poured all this time and energy into building your generative AI app. It's up, it's running, but then comes that little voice in the back of your head, right? The one that keeps you up at night asking, is this thing actually any good? I mean, how do we get past just hoping it works and actually prove it's effective, that it's reliable, and that it's truly ready for prime time? Okay, so here's our game plan for getting that peace of mind. First, we're going to really nail down the problem. Then we'll check out two totally different ways to tackle it. The old school human approach, and then the really cool idea of letting AI judge other AI. After that, we'll see it all play out in a real business scenario and wrap up by looking at how this shifts AI from just an art to a real engineering discipline. So first up, the million-dollar question. You know that feeling, right? That little bit of anxiety that creeps in right after you launch. You've built something that feels powerful, but you can't quite put your finger on how to prove it. Let's make this real. Imagine you've built, say, a travel AI assistant. Someone asks, hey, what's the best time to visit Paris? And boom, it spits out a great answer. Awesome. But was that just a lucky shot? How do you know for sure the next answer is going to be just as good? What's stopping it from giving some other user a totally wacky, misleading response? Look, when you've got stakeholders or your boss breathing down your neck, I think it's good just isn't going to fly. You can't just guess. You need proof. You need cold, hard data. You need metrics. Bottom line, you need a real system for evaluation. Which brings us to our first method, what I'm calling the human touch approach. And honestly, this is the most natural place to start, right? It's the most intuitive way to figure out if your AI is any good. Okay, so here's how it works. It's pretty straightforward, really. First, you cook up a test data set, basically just a big list of questions you think your AI should be able to answer. Stuff like, what are the visa rules for France? Or, give me a must-see spot in Rome. Next, you let your model loose and have it generate answers for every single one of those questions. And then, the final step. You bring in the experts. You get a team of people who really know their stuff to sit down, read through every response, and just grade them. Is it a thumbs up? A thumbs down? Was it accurate? Did it have the right tone? Was it actually, helpful? So this manual way of doing things, it's a classic trade-off. The big pro, it's amazing for catching nuance. A real person can easily spot when an answer is technically right but completely useless, or when the tone is just a little off. But the con, and this is the killer, is that it just doesn't scale at all. Doing 10 questions, easy. 100? Okay, maybe. But 1,000? Forget it. That becomes a super expensive full-time job for a whole team, especially if you're trying to compare a few different models. So that's the big question, isn't it? How do we get all that subtle human judgment, but at the speed and scale of a machine? Well, that leads us right into our next section, letting AI judge AI. And this, my friends, is where things get really interesting. This is the scalable solution we've been looking for. The idea here is kind of brilliant, actually. What you do is you take a really powerful top-of-the-line model, something like a GPT-4o, and you basically hire it to be your judge. You feed this judge three things: the original question, the answer your AI gave, and something we call a ground truth answer, which is really just a fancy way of saying a perfect pre-written answer. Then you tell the judge, okay, score my AI's answer against the perfect one on these specific points. And we're not talking about some vague, fluffy scores here. We're measuring really specific, concrete things. Like relevance. Did the AI even answer the question we asked? Coherence and fluency. Does the answer actually make sense and sound like a human wrote it? You can even have it check for harmful content, which is obviously super important. But my personal favorite is semantic similarity. This is so cool. It doesn't just look for keywords that match. It checks if the meaning behind the words is the same. So if your AI says budget-friendly upscale hotels, and the perfect answer is affordable luxury accommodations, the judge is smart enough to know, yep, that's the same thing. Now that is powerful. All right, enough with the theory. Let's see how this all plays out in the real world. We're going to put evaluation in action and watch how it helps make a really important business decision. Okay, picture this. Your company is using a big, powerful model like GPT-4o, but it's expensive. You're thinking about switching to a smaller, cheaper model to save some cash. So you run an automated evaluation across, say, 500 test questions, and the results are pretty clear. The big model scores higher on things like accuracy and relevance. The smaller model, it's not bad, it's close, but you can definitely see a performance drop. But here's the kicker. That smaller model, it could cut your costs by a whopping 70%. So now, the business has a real concrete question on its hands. Is that small dip in performance worth a massive 70% savings? See, before you had this evaluation data, that decision was pure guesswork, a gut feeling. Now, it's a proper, data-driven conversation. And that example really gets to the heart of the bigger picture here, which brings us to our final section, how we move AI development from being an art to being a real engineering discipline. This right here is the main takeaway. Look, when you're just relying on hunches and random checks, you're basically an artist. But when you start using systematic measurement, metrics you can trust, and data to back up your changes, well, now you're an engineer. And evaluation, that's the bridge that gets you from one to the other. And the payoff for this is huge. You build trust. You can walk into a meeting and instead of saying, yeah, I think the new version is better, you can show them a report and say, our relevance score went up by 5% with this last update. It's credible. It's professional. This is exactly how you take an AI project from being just a cool experiment and turn it into a rock-solid, production-ready product. So I'll just leave you with this one last thought to chew on for your own work. If you aren't measuring your AI, are you really building a product? Or are you just running a really interesting experiment?
So here we have already connected to Azure AI Foundry projects. Now select that all the resources. Now what we are going to do, we are going to create a hub project. So for that, here is that create new, click create new, and there we are selecting the option a new AI hub resource. Select that one, click on next, give a project name, and here this is the advanced option, expand that one. Now it's coming like new hub, so click that rename hub and give a name based to whatever you want. This is lab based on lab. I'm going to give this name. Select next. So now subscription, select the subscription, select the resource group, select the region, mm, east us 2, and foundry project, Azure OpenAI, and then select, click on create, and wait for this project to be created. So project has been created here. And now we are going to deploy models. So in this exercise, we'll evaluate the performance of a GPT-4o mini model, and we'll also use GPT-4o model to generate AI-assisted evaluation metrics. So for that, into this navigation pane, under that my asset section, select this model plus endpoint. So here model deployment page, select deploy model and deploy base model. Now search for GPT-4o model that we are going to use, and select, after selecting that one, make sure click on confirm. Now deployment name, you can give a deployment name, you can add something, but for this now I just use the same model name, it's here. Now under customer section, select that one. Uh, Select all the options default. Now tokens per minute, we will put that into 50k for the lab purpose, and click on deploy. So we see that this has been deployed, this model. Now let's go back model and points again, and this time we'll go with the second one, that is GPT-4o mini. So deploy model, deploy base model, GPT-4o mini. Click on confirm. We're going to customize. So here we are going to token is click deploy. So now if you go to models and endpoint, you can see that we have deployed two models, GPT-4o and GPT-4o mini. So now we'll manually review like model responses based on test data. And manually reviewing allows one to test different inputs to evaluate whether the model performs as expected. So now in a new browser window, open this uh, link URL to get the JSON data. And save this JSON data format file to download section. Click save. When that is, let's go there. Oh, I need to put the JSON format. Mm, JSON language, JSON. So now go back to Azure Foundry. And from here, under the protect and govern section, select evaluation. You can see this page, there is option create a new evaluation. Select that one, create new evaluation. And here there are different options, but for now we are not going to evaluate. A model option is also there, so click cancel. And what other options there? Because for this lab we are going to do manual evaluation, so you see that on the top level tabs, manual evaluation. So select that manual evaluations and new manual evaluations. So now here it's a system message and configuration side, there are model that the two model we have set that up. So for this now we are going to select a GPT-4o model, and let's first change the system level message to so assist with travel related inquiries, offering tips, advice and recommendation as a knowledge travel agent. And under manual evaluation results sections, select input test data. And now upload the JSON file that we have downloaded. Under downloads, select the JSON file, click on open. Then click on next. So you can see that from that data, it's getting that one, like what type of questions and informations from there. So now it's mapping like input sections. It is will be like questions string, and expected response is the response from there. So expected response, and click on add. So now after setting that up, you can see those values are there. So click on run. So it's running. So let it finish. So after that, you will see that there is a separate column, output column is added here. Now from there, like we output, if you go for each questions level, you can see down below there is an option uh, that do you like that or not. So it's kind of scoring options. So thumbs up or down. So let me just select the 4 thumbs up and 1 down. Normally you will read carefully, but for testing purpose I am selecting 1 down, 4 up, because we are doing manual evaluation. So after thumbs up and down, if we go up, you see that in summary section it's showing that 80% thumbs up and 1 is down. So now this is kind of the model wise evaluation or answers. Am I happy or not? Just giving input. And now there is an option like we can save results. So you can save results so that later on, if you want, you can retrieve them and compare with other model. Manual model evaluation, like first time. So select save. So similar way, like when you have a different model like the model we have done, so you can go through with other model and you can save that one and for later use. So now we'll go through with manual evaluations. So far we have done the manual evaluation. Now I'll go with automated evaluation. So for that, let's go back to that evaluation. And this time we are going to automated evaluation. So click create new evaluation. And now here you see that the two options there. Evaluate an existing query response data sheet, and you can do also evaluate a model. So we are going to do that evaluate a model. Select next. Now there's option like simulate questions or use your data sheet. So in our case, we are going to use our data sheet, and then upload the data sheet. We can upload that one. So select that, upload the data sheet. Click next. Test your model. Select the mini model. And the system prompt, let's modify, not modify, actually adding this one. So assist user with the travel related inquiries, offering tips, advice, and recommendation as a knowledgeable travel agent. For the query field, so select that item and questions. Click next. Click on add button. Now, the model labeler, there are different AI quality here. Select first one like model scorer. Criteria name is, that is fine. Semantic similarity. For the criteria name, we have selected semantic similarity and grade with select that GPT-4 model, and down below there is a user settings. So sample.output underscore txt ground truth is item expected response. Okay. It's giving invalid variable name. Well, output underscore txt ground truth item. So item expected response. So now it's good. So select add another criteria. Uh, Likert scale evaluator. Select that one. For this, select the presets is in relevance preset. Grade with a GPT-4 model. And query is item and question. Click add. Add another test criteria. So this time text similarity. Now criteria wise, we are going to select F1 score. And ground truth is item expected response. Click add. Add another test criteria. So here under ensure safe and ethical content, select on hateful and unfair content. Criteria name is fine, that one. Query is item dot questions. Select add. Now select next. So from here you can see all the settings we have done. That for the evaluation to use travel evaluation datasheet to evaluate, and model is in response model is GPT-4 mini model. Then evaluation name. So auto evaluation 01, and if you go down, click on submit button. So now it's see that it's evaluating. So evaluation process in progress. We'll wait to finish this one. So evaluation has completed, and from down below we can see that the dashboard like AI quality, AI assisted, relevance, and all of them passed. So from here you can get the all different types of preview, also risk and safety preview, AI quality. So, and at the same time, if you go to, you can export result also. Then if you go to data tab, you can see that the raw data here from the evaluation, and that actually includes both metrics for each input file, as well as it gives the explanation and reasoning that uh, used for the model based on, like here GPT-4o model applied when assessing these responses. So we have successfully completed this lab. It's always recommended and best practice to delete the components, or only all these components are specific to a research group, then you can delete the research group. That's it for now. See you in next lab.